Coming up this week on Animal Outtakes, we meet one of the hardest working canines in Manatee County.
Rucker gets paid in snacks, hugs, and kisses.
It's all in a day's work for this gentle soul. Find out how he's changing the lives of some of our first responders. And Dr. Tracy is talking turtles.
They come in all different shapes and sizes, but what makes them different? Are all shells created equal?
Plus, we talk with an emergency vet on what to expect if you find yourself in a desperate situation with your pet. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. We can all agree that life can be tough sometimes, especially now. To help combat stress, Manatee County public safety officials have brought in the big dogs, or dog, I should say. Just one for now. His name is Rucker, and he makes it hard not to smile.
It's an automatic smile when he walks into the room or meets, different departments at their stations, and just kind of, alleviate some of the stress and the mental, emotional part that takes, place for anyone who works within public safety.
Rucker is the newest member of the Public Safety Peer Support Program. Employees receive additional training to speak to their peers directly regarding stress, both at work and at home. Having him around makes it easier for people to open up.
Manatee County has different departments within public safety. We have Beach Patrol, we have EMS, we have our dispatch center, which is 911. We have the emergency management department as well. And what Rucker does is basically he'll go around on a weekly basis. He has a regular 8 to 5, Monday through Friday schedule, so he works with us.
Often people who work in public safety see things no one wants to remember.
Just recently, EMS had a really bad pediatric trauma call, and at the hospital, our chief and other district chiefs of EMS met the crew that worked the event to be there for emotional support while they debriefed after the call. So when we talked about the idea about getting a service dog, we didn't even know a facility dog was a thing, which fit perfect for our agency overall. So Jimmy, actually the chief of EMS, had heard about Valor and reached out to them and wrote a letter saying how good of a need, how much of a need this was for public safety. They contacted him right away and got the ball rolling.
That's it. Get your leash. Come on. That's it. Get your leash. That's it. That's it. Yes. That's it.
Valor Service Dogs is a nonprofit organization that helps wounded post 9/11 veterans and first responders regain their independence and return to civilian life, maintaining successful partnerships through the training and placing of mobility assistance and PTSD service dogs.
We've heard from Rucker's handler that Rucker has tons of requests to be places, and people are just much more willing to be a part of the peer-to-peer support group, and he's finding that people are opening up more and being comfortable to just talk about it, and it's not as taboo to talk about the bad day or that you've had an experience that kind of changed you. So we've heard that it's going really well. He's basically just a friendly face that kind of helps them open up or feel comfortable to talk about, the bad days that they've had.
And they see so many.
Yes.
He's a really important part of public safety. What Rucker does for all of our personnel here at Public Safety is he puts a smile on your face, and that automatically puts you in a better place, in a better mood. And scientifically, it releases dopamine and endorphins, which help relieve a lot of stress. It's scientifically proven. So when you see this cute, furry, little cuddly dog, it's an automatic release of stress for a lot of our departments. Rucker has the best job. He's surrounded by people that genuinely appreciate him, love him, are excited to see him, and they're waiting his arrival. As soon as he leaves our dispatch center, they're like, when is he coming back? They're anxious to know when he's going to come back and spend some time with us.
Coming up next,
With all of these different species of sea turtles, some of them can actually go over 4,000 feet deep. What makes them different? Are all shells created equal?
and we talk with a top vet about what to do in an emergency.
It's a lot easier to talk about it now when there's not all the high emotion and concern and whatever it is that the patient's being brought in for.
These last few months have been challenging for everyone, especially me. I've walked many, many miles. I learned new tricks. I lost my afternoon nap time. I've stayed up many nights watching movie after movie after movie. I'm suffering from cabin fever. I'm in need of a renewed spirit.
Dante's Den is the perfect boarding solution for your dog, whether it's an overnight, short, or extended stay. Dante's offers the convenience, amenities, and overall luxury your pet is seeking. Spacious, air-conditioned dens have private patios, overlooking scenic pool and lakeside views, a sparkling pool with fountains to play in, surrounded by chaste loungers and a staff that will cater to their every wish. To make a boarding reservation for your pup, call us at 941-219-3730. Every dog deserves a lifelong, loving home. Dante's Den provides a pristine, comfortable haven for dogs that have been abandoned or surrendered by their owners. We ensure every pup in our Joyful Dogs adoption program receives lots of love and attention, is properly immunized, spayed or neutered, and is in good health. Prospective pet parents undergo a thorough adoption review to ensure a lifetime of love and care. Find your new furry best friend at Dante's Den. For more information, go to dantesden.org or call us at 941-219-3730. Dante's Den, continuing the love.
My name is Dr. Tracy Fanara, research scientist and environmental engineer. At Moat Marine Laboratory, I use investigation and experimentation to answer questions. Look at this guy. Can you imagine meeting up with this massive turtle while diving? These leatherback turtles can get up to 9 feet. They have a leathery feeling shell and they can dive over 4,000 feet. That's so much deeper than any other turtle. I wonder how they can do that. What is so special about the leatherback? Are all shells created equal? Wow, what are you doing? Can she actually feel that? It looks like she likes it.
She can. So this is Montego. She's a loggerhead sea turtle, and they actually have feeling in their shell. So their shell's made of keratin, just like our fingernails and our hair, and their shell is actually fused to their spine, so they do feel it.
That's amazing. So how important is the shell to their survival?
The shell is extremely important. So they cannot really get away from any predators or anything like that. So in the wild, they use their shells as a protection that's always with them.
So my question is, are all shells alike?
All shells are not alike. So there are 7 species of sea turtle that live on our planet right now, and 6 of those species are just like Montego, where they have hard shells, but the leatherback, which is the largest, does not. They don't have a shell like the rest do. The leatherback, instead of having a hard shell like this, they have dermal ridges. So they have 7 dermal ridges that go where a normal sea turtle shell would, the other species of sea turtle, and it's made of a rubbery skin instead.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yep.
So that makes sense. So is that why they're able to swim so much deeper than other turtles?
Yeah, it is. So that rubbery skin kind of compresses down when they dive really deep, and they're able to get down there.
That's amazing. So for us, when we breathe, we have ribs and intercostal muscles that can help us expand and suck in that air. How do they do that?
So these guys do the exact same thing. So they have lungs just like we do as well, but they're able to kind of compress down their lungs a little bit if they want to dive a little deeper. For loggerheads and other species, but the leatherback, they actually will suck their whole bodies down, and they can slow their heart rate so that they don't have to breathe. They kind of hold their breath the entire time when they're diving.
Interesting. So I heard when there's low oxygen, or to give them a little help, they can actually take in oxygen from the water through their back end.
They can, which is pretty funny. Obviously we can't do that, but they're able to take in that oxygen as well in different ways to be able to still bring in oxygen when they're down at those deep levels.
Which is pretty amazing, but just like us, when we don't have enough oxygen going into our muscles, we build up lactic acid.
Yep.
Just like they do.
Just like they do, exactly.
So what are these?
These are coffee cups.
You're kidding me, that was once a full-size cup?
Yeah, remember that? They were like this big.
Yeah.
Until I put them down, how many feet says here? Like 7,000 feet.
7,000
Yes.
feet.
And
That's crazy.
here's another one, 8,000 feet.
Oh my gosh. So you can see how compressed these things
Yes.
are at the higher pressures.
Yes, when you go down to 8,000 feet, there's a lot of pressure. This one here is USNS Bartlett. That was the research vessel that we were on. And we were doing a CTD cast. So I put these in a potato sack, you know, the bags for
Yep.
potatoes, tied it to the sensor, and they sent it down, and that's what came up.
That's crazy. So a CTD, conductivity, temperature, and depth.
Exactly.
So it's recording all of that when it went down, which is,
Yeah.
how do you know how far that was?
It has a pressure sensor on it.
Wow.
So it measures pressure as you drop it down.
And that's why the leatherback turtle is able to go a lot deeper than other turtles, because they're able to compress like this.
Ah,
Now we know that not all shells are created equal. They are different per species, and we also know how important the shells are. They're actually part of the turtle's body. They're not like the cartoons. They can't just walk out of their shell. Remember guys, anyone could be a scientist or an engineer with some passion, hard work, and an innate curiosity of how the world works.
Stick around for more Animal Outtakes after the break.
People have asked me what it'll cost to restore all the corals back to the way they remember. But I have to ask them, what will it cost if we don't do anything?
These last few months have been challenging for everyone, especially me. I've walked many, many miles. I'm suffering from cabin fever. I'm in need of a renewed spirit.
Dante's Den is the perfect boarding solution for your dog. Dante's offers the convenience, amenities, and overall luxury your pet is seeking. To make a boarding reservation for your pup, call us at 941-219-3730. Welcome back. Now we introduce you to this week's Pet of the Week, a striking bird known for its companionship and extensive vocabulary.
Come here. This is a male eclectus, and he is 15 weeks old.
The male eclectus parrot is an active bird, one who demands quite a bit of attention, according to Karis at the Family Pet Center in Sarasota, Florida.
So with them, it takes a decent amount of time. They also learn how to talk. So they can speak usually up to 100 to 150 words.
These birds love and need interaction. They can be gentle birds who quickly earn their place in the family tree, but it's up to you to give them the time they need each and every day.
Somebody who's probably home more, but you don't have to be, especially if you can take them with you. Because if you clip their wings or anything, then they can travel on your shoulder with you and everything like that.
They're playful and inquisitive birds who also need toys to keep busy when you're not at home. Their diet has to be low in fat and high in fiber.
He is on, with eclectuses, they eat more of a fruit diet. So you want to do less seeds than a normal parrot. So they get more fruits and veggies, but he's on true fruit, sunburst, parrot, and then the Tropomix.
Eclectus are dimorphic, which means you can tell their gender by their color. The females are red and purple with a black beak, and the males are green with an orange-colored beak. Karis says this little guy came to them as a baby and will make a great companion for someone because of how it's been raised.
When we get them, they're hand-fed and hand-raised, so they're used to hands.
These exotic birds can live up to 30 years, so it's very important that you keep them stimulated throughout their life. They don't like to be confined.
Definitely do your research on the parrots or any type of bird. They are not for everyone. They are a lifelong companion, and you just want to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into before you decide on something like this, because they do take a lot of work.
Yes, you do.
It is said that if you have both a male and a female eclectus, the female will be the bossier of the two, but only because of her nesting tendencies. Stick with us. There's more on Animal Outtakes when we return.
These last few months have been challenging for everyone, especially me. I've walked many, many miles. I learned new tricks. I lost my afternoon nap time. I've stayed up many nights watching movie after movie after movie. I'm suffering from cabin fever. I'm in need of a renewed spirit.
Dante's Den is the perfect boarding solution for your dog, whether it's an overnight, short, or extended stay. Dante's offers the convenience, amenities, and overall luxury your pet is seeking. Spacious, air-conditioned dens have private patios, overlooking scenic pool and lakeside views, a sparkling pool with fountains to play in, surrounded by chaste loungers and a staff that will cater to their every wish. To make a boarding reservation for your pup, call us at 941-219-3730. Animal Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org. It's hard to always be prepared for an emergency. Life is busy, and you don't always want to think about bad things happening to your pets. So we took some time with a Suncoast Emergency Room veterinarian and asked him what to expect in case of an emergency. So today we're here with our emergency chief of staff, Dr. Holyfield, who has calmed me down during a very major surgery on my shepherd Zeus, and has calmed many other people. But are we calmable as we come into your ER?
Well, some people do a lot better than others. And it's a lot easier to talk about it now when there's not all the high emotion and concern and whatever it is that the patient's being brought in for, be it vomiting or diarrhea, or there's a dog fight at the dog park, or whatever, bloat, whatever it is that that may be going on. So whenever you show up at the ER, there are protocols that are set in place so that everything can get done in a timely manner. Just like when you go to the people ER or your doctor's office, there's going to be paperwork. I'm so sorry for that, but it's part of it. Without us knowing who you are and who the patient is, a lot of times we can look at our patient at the paperwork and say, we have an unspayed female that's 8 years old that's sick. Well, there's a very high probability that that patient has a uterine infection, and that may be something that we need to look into, versus a 2-year-old neutered male that's not going to have a uterine infection because they don't have that. Okay, so there's going to be paperwork. The receptionist will get some preliminary information, and then one of the technicians will come up and triage the patient, see where do they need to fit in the grand scheme of what we have going on at the moment in the hospital. If you have a very sick patient, they're going to get treated sooner than if you have a broken toenail. I'm sorry, that's just the facts of life. So we need to know where it is, because if we have a patient that is literally dying while we're dealing with a broken toenail, we're doing a disservice. And so yes, the waits can be a little long sometimes, but be rest assured that we have the patient's best interest in mind, and even though we may not be looking at that particular patient, we know that it's there and where they're at in the priority list. So then the technician will look at the patient, call it TPR, temperature, pulse, respiration, do a general assessment, and then they will come back and talk to us, the doctors, and say, okay, this is what's going on, this is what's happened, this is what the honors told us, this one needs to be seen right now. Whatever you're doing, you need to stop, unless it's a life-saving thing, and go see this patient, and we do. But it's strictly based on how sick the patient is. You know, it doesn't matter if you've been to us a dozen times and somebody that's never been here before shows up, we may see them before we see you. And it's not because you don't matter as much, it's because the patient that just walked in the door is a lot sicker than what yours is. We're here for true emergencies, you know, dog fights, lacerations, getting run over by a car, snake bites, severe vomiting and diarrhea, whatever. Having said that, we are more than happy to see other things. Like if there's a concern, call. And then we can talk to you, and it's, yes, we need to see that. Or no, depending on your comfort level, you may be able to wait till in the morning and see your regular doctor. If, however, something changes, call us, give us a heads up, and come see us. So now we don't diagnose over the phone, because we can't do that. We have to lay our hands on the patient. But we can, like, some things are more serious than others. If you have, like, for instance, old dogs, sometimes they'll have a mass or something like that on their skin that has ruptured, sebaceous gland cyst. Yes, it's a bloody mess, and I can appreciate the dog is leaving a trail through the house, and you're more than welcome to come in, but we may not be able to do a whole lot about that. because we don't do elective procedures. Because if we're in the middle of an elective procedure and a bloat comes in, I'm sorry, your elective procedure is going to get cut short. We're going to address the other problem. So there are some things that we will talk to you about and try to help you with, but we may say, this is what we can do now, but you really need to see your regular doctor to have this addressed.
So we need to think about what we're going to do when we call you, make sure that we have all of our facts, what breed, what age, what we're seeing, and then leave it in your hands.
Yes. Like I say, we're more than happy to talk to you. Call us anytime, 24/7, literally.
We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We'll be back here again next week with some more animals and wild adventures. Thanks for joining us.